It was, though, Perry, the first time that England had lost in 90 minutes since they were beaten by Belgium in the last running of the Nations League. It's a run of 22 matches without defeat before yesterday, but it was lethargic. They created very little, and if they don't raise themselves in the near future, Germany and Italy will eat them alive. You can moan about the heat all you like, although that's not really a secret of Eastern Europe in the summer. The penalty you can moan about, I suppose, but, it was one of those that was never going to get overturned once it had been given. The long season, but really and truly, it was a disappointing 90 minutes. It was
very, maybe the first 10, 15 minutes was okay-ish, wasn't it? Because we were trying to close down, trying to put Hungary under a little bit of pressure. But then it just looked really like staid and stale, didn't it? And like you mentioned, lethargic there. And I lost count of how many times we gave the ball away when we weren't under any pressure. And I know Gareth Southgate said about the heat afterwards, and it's a good learning curve for Qatar. There's one thing you've got to do is when you're in Qatar is you've got to keep the ball, because the energy you have to exert to go and try and win it back is probably double. You can pass the legs off other teams. And I think Hungary got a little bit of confidence in the fact that we kept giving the ball away, and they actually thought, oh, do you know what? Perhaps these ain't as good as what we thought they was going to be. And you can get a feeling of the lethargy in the opposition. And that's exactly what especially down the right hand, Hungary's right hand side, where they were brilliant, great crosses coming in from the right. And I felt a bit sorry for Justin, because it's hard enough making your playing for England anyway without. I know they say he can play at left back, but really he's more comfortable at right back. And you could tell he just didn't. I don't know if you felt the same thing. He just didn't look comfortable, did he, in himself? He looked like it was all a bit manic going on around him. He didn't look as composed as what I've seen him before.
I thought it passed him by a little bit. It also passed Mason Mount by, Andrew Bellingham as well. Look, it wasn't the first choice 11. James, Henderson, Phillips, Saka, Stones, Chilwell, not quite ready and not ready to play in the heat. The temperature was hot, but this is an England team that actually demolished Hungary on their last visit to Budapest, and that was only 10 months ago, and that Hungary team hasn't changed over that period. Did anyone show enough in that 90 minutes that made you think, they've got to play on Tuesday night against Germany?
Jarrod Bowen. You would be very disappointed if it was him and he wasn't playing, although obviously it's going to be different personnel, because I thought he didn't look like it actually fazed him. He didn't look like, sometimes say about the shirt weighing heavy on players. He played exactly the same way as what he's been playing for West Ham, where he looked lively when he had the ball, taking defenders on 1v1. He always got himself into the box where you have to make sure you're the second striker. He had a couple of chances. He had one with his right foot, then he with a volley, which he didn't quite. He come off his shin. He had another one with shot, which was blocked. And he had a brilliant volley as well with his left foot that come over. He probably caught it too well, because if he hits it into the ground,
then probably scores.
Exactly, yeah. So I thought he was, and it's very difficult as well when a team isn't playing very well, which England weren't, and there's no flow to the game and it's very bitty. It's hard for someone making their debut to stand out and keep doing the right things. And I thought his running off the ball was excellent, his closing down was excellent, and I just thought most of the time he made good decisions, and it didn't faze him at all. So he can come off, for a lad who started at Hereford, just think, actually I belong on, because you would as a player, when you're stepping up different levels.
Depends on your character, doesn't it? Yeah,
but you do, because he knows he's done. Even when you're going in training, Sam, you're on trial really, because all the other players know that you've been brilliant in the Premier League, and now they're looking at you going, all right, I wonder if you can handle.
Can you do it?
The expectations, and he looked like he really. I know you wouldn't enjoy it, obviously, the result, but I think he looked like he actually enjoyed himself.
There's so much else to talk about, including the substitutions. Calvin Phillips coming on for Connor Cody when they were chasing the game and needing a goal. Formations, they sometimes skew the debate, but we'll get into that in just a second as well. And we'll probably touch again, I think, probably on the Hungarian children booing the knee, which was one of those things you just thought, really?
My heart sank.
Come on.
You think, have I just
Why
heard
are we
that?
here?
Didn't you think, have I just heard that right?
Come
and
on.
then your next thought is, but there's 30,000 kids in there. Do you know what I mean? That's your next thought.
How worrying is that?
Yeah, you think, what's happening? Have the kids followed the adults with them? Have they followed their, if the adults started, then they've sort of followed them? Or is that what's being sort of taught to those children from the adults? Because it was pretty spontaneous, wasn't it? As if they were ready. Someone must explain to them what the knee was about. Why would kids boo it?
I don't know. But, the problem is that you can go down a rabbit hole going into geopolitics if you get too drawn into it. But ultimately, it's just not a great look. It's not a great look for UEFA. It's not a great look for the Nations League. Obviously, wound up Gareth Southgate. Did it contribute to the performance? Probably not, but I'm not necessarily sure that it was great at the European Championships last year when people were booing England players before they started the game. So the idea that it's still happening, it's just it is baffling, really.